It's Wednesday. I like Wednesdays are, I got mindfulness Mondays, attention training Tuesdays, and Wednesdays is kind of a let's see what we got. Let's see what comes up. So I thought today we'd focus on really the essence of what we're doing here. This idea of 15 minutes of positivity is really rooted in the notion that there is such a thing as neuroplasticity, right? This ability on our part to choose the positive experiences that we want, knowing that that actually affects literally our biology. So our brain is really, its function is to make sense of the world, keep us safe, allow us to survive, and it takes in information from the outside and processes it in such a way so that we can take action or respond in a way that will serve us. Now, the challenge there is we don't have control over what happens out there and what we're subjected to. So from the day we're born till the day we die, our brain is trying to make sense of all of that. And there's obviously times in our neural development where there are these phases of hyperplasticity, and obviously childhood, especially early childhood, the teen years, well until our mid-20s, we are like sponges. We're trying to make sense of the world. And then unfortunately, many of us have experiences during those formative years that set us up for a kind of dis-ease or discomfort down the road. And we then label that depression, anxiety, compulsive behaviors, shame, fill in the blank, right? So the whole point here is to say, well, let's self-direct and choose the type of positive experiences that we want. Let's repeat them over and over again. So we, in essence, are directing our brain into a place of saying, this is what's important. This is what I want you to wire up. So there are two concepts here that are important to understand. The first one is neurons that fire together, wire together. So as we have repetitive experiences, literally we are, those neural networks that are responsible for the subjective sense of what that experience is, they begin to connect with each other. So billions of neural connections through these synapses happen, and so the more we do that, the more that wiring takes place. Now the inverse is true too, and a lot of people don't appreciate this, I think, enough as to how important this is. So neurons that stop firing together will eventually unwire. So the technical term for that is pruning. So imagining, we have these networks that are established, we experience them as depression or anxiety or fill in the blank. And the idea is the less airtime and the less activation we give those neural networks, at some point the brain starts saying, oh, this isn't really needed. I'm going to put my resources elsewhere, and then form other neural networks. So this idea of, the less attention we give the negative experiences, the more our brain adapts to that as well. And all of that looks like this. I've shown you guys this before. This is endlessly fascinating to me. So this is a time lapse of the big white blobs are neurons. The spaghetti connections are the synaptic connections. Those are the axons and the dendrites from, this is how the neurons communicate with each other. And you can see there's this constant shift and change that's happening where they wire together and unwire, and there's different, connections being formed. And so I was hoping with this visual in mind, let's do a meditation today where we focus on the desired state of kindness. So what's it like to, what's the subjective experience of what it's like to be us when we are in the midst of being the mechanism for kindness. So let's try it out, and hopefully this works. So start by closing your eyes. As always, taking 90 seconds just to ground and root ourselves in the present moment. Noticing the body breathing, noticing the ears, picking up sounds, noticing the tongue in your mouth, tasting and sensing, The eyes, even though they're closed, they're still seeing. There's all kinds of activity still happening. And then, of course, our skin. Just bring that attention inward, noticing right here, right now. I'm aware of the body in time and space, sensing, feeling, experiencing. And then let's use our mind. Let's use our capacity for memory and bring to mind a memory in which you felt a little bit disappointed with yourself about maybe the level of kindness or tenderness that you were expressing or experiencing with another person. So please don't choose a 10 out of 10 here. Just go for something that was sort of mildly disappointing or upsetting, or you're like, gosh, I wish I'd been able to be different, just nicer and kinder, gentler. Maybe it was a conversation you were having with someone where you felt a little impatient and short, or an action you took. Just feel into that experience. What was it like to inhabit the body in that moment where the mind was maybe contracted or being unkind towards another? Not about judgment, but it's really just about bearing witness to, oh yeah, this is what it's like to be me when I got hijacked. Now going back in that moment in time and that interaction, you get a do-over now. So imagine yourself in that same situation, but now you're grounded, you're feeling resourced, and feel into what it would be like to exude kindness. Where in the body does kindness live? What does it feel like? What is kindness like in the mind? The softening, an opening. Just take your time, slowing things down, noticing there you are with this person. Now you're choosing kindness. You're directing the self towards the positivity of kindness. And as you're doing so, I want you to maybe bring in this visual that I just showed you of in the brain, there's millions of neurons are communicating with each other to create the subjective sense of kindness. And we are what we repeatedly do. So we literally change our neurobiology, the structure and function of our brain. The more we drop into and become familiar with the subjective experience of kindness and what it feels like, the more we stimulate those neural networks that allow us to have that experience. And we can use memory, or we can use experiences in the moment. And the hardest part here is just to remember, all right, this is valuable. This is what I'd like more of. And the more I experience it, the easier it gets. We're just taking a few minutes now to like steep in the subjective experience of kindness. Of course, this is the same sensation and experience. We have it towards others. And we can also turn that back towards the self and cut ourselves some slack, for maybe not having behaved the way we wanted to, and then meet that experience with kindness and forgiveness and gentleness. If there's any resistance to that, it's okay. If there's any, yeah, but I should have or I shouldn't have. Again, just meeting that narrative with kindness as well. Say, yeah, sometimes it's difficult for me to be the kind being I'd like to be. And it's okay. I get to come back. I get to revisit it. I get to practice. The more I do this, the easier it becomes. And that's what we're doing right now. And go ahead and take a deep, slow breath in through the nose. Low out breath through the mouth. Softening, relaxing the shoulders, the belly, letting go. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Another deep inhale through the nose. Long, slow exhale through the mouth. Meeting this moment right here, right now, with kindness and gentleness. And hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead, open your eyes. Come on back to the session. I think when I think of, I mean, kindness for me, it's one of my core values. I strive to be a kinder, gentler person. Sometimes for me, what's tricky is I conflate kindness with being kind of, I don't know, passive. Sometimes being a doormat, letting other people take advantage of me. So I'm not suggesting that at all in this experience with kindness, but I think we can be firm and boundaried and still kind. And whatever that feels like in the body, the more we can stimulate that, the more we're telling the brain, hey, this is important. Get used to this. This is the new me, or what I'd like to be. So hope that was helpful. I'll stick around for a few if anyone wants to connect. Otherwise, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow for gratitude. Thanks, everyone.